All right, welcome everyone to the March 23rd meeting of the Conway Selectboard. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of March 9th and 16th, which looks good to me, so I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. We do have, it looks like we have a couple people here for public comment, so I think we're going to start with that so that we can get moved in and out before our much longer meeting. So does anyone want to begin?
Do I do that right from here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait.
There's another chair at the end if you want, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You can pull up a chair too.
Or pull up a chair next to, right in the corner next to Lori if you want.
Okay.
That's easier.
I'll get myself out of the way. So my name is Priscilla Lynch. I live on South Churchshire Road, and I have come here to make a public comment tonight. As I know, the Select Board received 2 letters, one regarding one from the Western Mass Federation and another from the Apartheid-Free Communities Organization. And I've really come to ask the Select Board to think about the anti-apartheid pledge and about what it would mean for our community to take that pledge. I think we see and hear and have heard for 2 years now what's been happening in Gaza and Palestine. It continues. They're not free people. And this is the 2nd year that infants have died from exposure because of what our government is doing and spending our money on. We provide the weapons for this to happen. We have some responsibility for it. And I think all of us, in any way they can, wherever they can, in any corner of this world, have to do what we can to stop a genocide. And I know that there are people that think this is not the place for those discussions. I believe it is. And, we can't look the other way. It's happening. We have to do whatever we can, wherever we can, whenever we can about that. It is our responsibility to human beings, to, mankind, humankind, kind. And so I just want to express that. And I guess I'll just leave it with the words of my good friend Pocky Lehman. Once you know, you can't not know.
May she rest in peace.
So I encourage everyone, and especially our leaders, to help lead us forward in having a say and speaking for our community. Because we are a very large community. We're not just a little Conway, not just Massachusetts, but we are the community of humankind. And it's time to be kind and make sure that happens. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other further public comments? Okay.
Yeah, and to give everyone some context who's watching, we received a letter from the Jewish Federation of Western Massachusetts. We received a request from Apartheid-Free Western Massachusetts to sign an a boycott, a BDS, basically to sign a pledge saying that we're an apartheid-free community. And we received a competing communication from the Jewish Federation of Western Massachusetts, which is urging us not to, because their belief that it is an anti-Semitic proposal, essentially, that's being forwarded.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Priscilla. Okay, shall we move? Do you guys want to have a discussion about this right now, or can we table? Or?
This created a lot of controversy in Montague because they actually did take up a vote. I totally agree with Patricia that that communities and leaders should have this discussion. I don't believe that a vote equity and inclusion are broadly defined, or should be broadly protected, as free speech is broadly defined. So when you exclude or when you only really strictly identify one group, it excludes others. I think that what happened in Montague is that they were mixing anti-Semitism with being against Israel policies, and that created mass confusion and people being upset. It's behoove us to be aware of current events, especially something as tragic as what's happened at the West Bank and Gaza Strip for decades now. So I just don't see it as any vote. The vote that they requested, I don't think is appropriate at a town level. That's my take on it.
But we're all capable of our own personal action.
Okay, I guess that then we're not gonna take a vote.
Well, we couldn't even take a vote if we wanted
Right,
to,
yeah,
because it's not on the
because
agenda.
it's not on the agenda for a vote,
Right.
but, okay. All right, thank you for your public comment. I appreciate it very much. Okay, moving on. Meetings attended by select board members.
None since last week.
School committee have their budget meeting, and we'll vote on it this Thursday. I don't know if anybody reviewed the budget. Is it sent to you? It was forwarded to you and the finance committee? The school budget?
Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by Shelley. It was actually a very well done presentation.
Oh, I haven't gotten that.
No, I haven't got a presentation on it. I think I got the numbers from her earlier.
Is that going to do, let's review this coming Thursday?
It's gonna be voted.
Be voted on.
Yeah,
Oh, I'll email Shelley.
I can forward it to you when I get
Oh,
home.
thank you.
But basically, it's level funded. There's some IAs who are retiring or not working anymore, that we're not replacing those positions. Wings is downsizing but not closing, so they can look for options in a teacher. There's no big asks except things that were planned, like they're rotating through the school with replacing flooring, and they're still doing the flooring, and
I remember we got a
Through the
$30,000
classrooms.
request for the flooring.
and then
Capital.
the front entrance really needs attention, and the
Yeah,
parking
concrete
lot
work.
really need attention,
Mhm.
but they're not asking that to go on the warrant this year. Yet, I mean, I took a picture of the curb, it's completely broken away. I don't know if we can get a temporary cleanup of it, but the projected cost of that is
So
a
it's a
lot.
safety concern?
It is a safety
Yeah.
concern. The concrete curb, so it's like an oval entrance, and it's breaking away, especially on one side. It takes a lot of wear, and really needs to be done, but they're very conscious of the current state of health insurance and the budgets, and trying to go carefully, which means it's going to kick the can down the road to next year, which I'm not sure is going to be better.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Does Bill Hinderlick, can you reach out to the Board of Health and just make sure that nobody files a complaint?
nobody has filed a complaint right now. People think of it as cosmetic.
I
but
can
it's-
confirm that no one's filed a complaint.
Yeah, yeah.
Or Bill would take, if anyone does, I just want to make sure that we are not violating any kind of code that would set us up for any type of legal claim. You know,
I
somebody-
mean, you walk in there all
somebody
the
tripping.
time. I don't know if you've noticed it, but
I'm
it's
kind
it's cracked and
yeah.
it's unlevel, and it's the curb itself, especially on the corner, is completely
Right.
it's dissolved.
And can someone who has to get in, who's not ambulatory, someone with a wheelchair, or a stretcher for an ambulance, can they get in that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Alright.
that's not the ramp per se.
Okay.
but it's not a good look, and it's
Yeah.
not a good safety thing, so.
Yeah.
If ideally, we would do it this year, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah. So the Conway Grammar School budget is level funded, but not necessarily level service, because we're not replacing a couple of positions.
Right, but they don't need, Kristen's assessment is they don't need to be replaced.
Okay,
Some of them are one-on-ones, and that the students are moving on,
okay.
or something, so
All right.
Kristen's. So I think it's a 471, I think is the overall increase, which the first prediction was higher.
Yeah.
I wish I
Let me see.
brought it.
I-
Shelley, I think, sent it last. Was it this past
I
Friday?
think this
Friday
is
before.
correct. Is the budget for this year. It was a 4%, yeah.
No, it's 471, I think.
Mind if we get to that and we get with Superintendent Martin?
Yeah, just, we were
Yeah.
talking about it, and you wanted to,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
figured I'd show it.
Yeah.
All right, so Superintendent Martin is here, so why don't we go, since we don't have, we're gonna have the Festival of the Hills Committee, but they are not here yet, although they are planning to come. So you want to review their meeting?
Yes.
I know she's there. She said she'd come over as soon as she can, so.
I make a motion to call the finance committee meeting to order. I make a motion to approve the March 9th finance committee meeting minutes as presented.
March, how about March 2nd?
March 2nd.
Yeah. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, thanks.
Welcome, Superintendent Martin.
Welcome. Well, thank you very much. I'm here tonight with my business manager, Liz Bouchard. She has, this is her first year as our business manager after 28 years with Russell Cobras. So I just wanted her to have an opportunity to say hello.
Good evening.
Thank
you for having us.
Superintendent Martin, you're coming to us on a very big news day for you, so we just wanted to say congratulations, and we're going to be sorry to see you go. You've been a great champion for Franklin Tech, and we're going to miss your presentations especially.
Well, thank you very much. I think tonight, it's my understanding, it's going to be like a twofold, and one is to update the town of Conway as it relates to the MSBA project, and the other part is to review the assessment set upcoming for the budget. Does that sound correct to you?
Yes.
Okay. And so, why don't I start with the budget? Let me just get that. I can share my screen, I assume. Here we go. All right. And I won't be as long. I'll try to make this a synopsis. So basically, we have two major sections to our budget, and the first half is how we receive our money, and the second half is how we spend it. And so under the first half of the money, we're going to go to per pupil expenditures, and highlighted in yellow is Conway. As you can see how Conway students have, we had 9 back a few years ago, then 7, 8, we had a drop to 4. And just so you can plan ahead, but next year, we only had 1 student apply, so we have 1 student from Conway that will be added on to that for next year. So the per pupil cost is always interesting, and I know Conway always seems to get the short end of the state to calculate per pupil expenditures. When we look at the list for Franklin County Tech, you can see there's a few towns in the $20,000 range, and Conway happens to be one of them. And your per pupil expenditure at $20,336, according to the good wisdom of the Department of Ed, your town's as expensive as Wellesley, Newton, Dover, Sherburne.
We're well aware.
And all those other, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
good year here.
And that's just, again, I only keep bringing that
Where's
up
my
every
trash
year because it just, because it just tells me that the state doesn't understand our rural towns yet. So they don't really get it as it relates to our towns. So your assessment will be $81,334, probably one of the lowest you've had for the town, given is basically all on the student enrollment end. And the other sheet I'd like to show you is where you are with your capital expenditures. That should be a little further up. I'll try to go slow here. Here we go. It's at 6,378, and that's changes every 2 years based on the equalized valuation and only fluctuates a few $100s here or there. And we're got a few more years to go. We're probably 2/3 of the way through that. So we're approaching the last phase of that. When I go back to the sources of funding up here, I have that's that debt service I just showed you, that 206 is our total. Chapter 70, as all towns have, I know there's some background noise, I'm not sure where that's coming from, but it's not on my end. I think someone might have their mic on with other noise in the back. The Chapter 78 is according to the Department of Revenue sheet here. So we got a quick explanation on the Chapter 78, and then when we go to our cherry sheet, I just click on that. We're getting 6.248 million in Chapter 70 and 959,158 regional transportation. And when I look at that number and compare it to how we've been doing, you can notice how the trends went up just a little bit. We basically are at hold harmless, and we see, and just receiving a little bit of money that about maybe $50,000 above where we were. And you can see that trend has changed a lot from when you go back to 2023-24, where we went up around 500,000. So we're struggling to get to Chapter 78, and the regional transportation aid number I just showed you, the 959, is in our budget right here. And that's from the DOR cherry sheet. Well, one of the important things I just should note back, if I go back to that real quick, is the enrollment trends are real, the enrollment trends are real interesting. You can see where we are with the enrollment. Here we are in 2025-26, and we have 172 at the orange line. That's the number of freshmen who have come through the door. And the blue line represents the number of available 8th graders that we pull that from. So as you can see, that number of available 8th graders is it goes up a little bit next year, but then it starts to kind of fade down, and then our enrollment in yellow and orange will go down as a result. So that's how we can project out into 2033-34. And we get this number from the school attendant children report. Now, when I'm usually presenting with you, when I'm physically there, you can see when I click this on, it will show the state report. Unfortunately, when you do it through Zoom, I don't think you get this. Watch it. Do you see anything change?
No.
No.
No. All right. So that doesn't help us to identify that. But that's where, when you get this book electronically, you can click that on and it will take you right to the state website, where you can basically get an idea on where we pull these numbers from. I think another interesting fact is you can see our enrollment in district is 591 last year and 579 this year. And so that's a drop, and we are reflecting almost exactly what those enrollment trends are dictating. We also have, where's the other one? Yeah, I'll get back to here. Now we have the, where we get our other money. You can see that we have those members who are not part of our agreement, that offsetting our town assessments. We had to use almost all of them for $800,000 there. Pre-employment program, a self-contained special education program, had a little bit more enrollment, so we could use $100,000. Other revenues, as you know, we're a vocational technical school with old equipment that go out for auction, so you may get a little money there. And our excess and deficiencies is certified. A little explanation on how that goes. But when you're going through the budget book on your own, you'll click down here at the bottom, and it will take you right to the DESE website and show you that same exact $533,000 number that I just showed you, is what we're using. So we're using every last cent of our E&D to help offset the budget. And Liz is gonna take the bottom part of the screen, and she's gonna explain the reason why we need to do all these maneuvers, like take more from non-member towns, use all the excess and deficiency, and it's because of the significant increase that we're all facing with insurances. So our insurance is a major culprit, and we were basically down more than $1 million at this point last year. So we had to make $1 million that we did not anticipate. And so that resulted in some budget reductions and other efficiencies. So it hasn't been a great budget year from that perspective. I'm going to let Liz take the bottom half of the screen.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So our district leadership and administration did see a decrease based on salary decreases from recent retirements, as you read in the newspaper today, and some other positional changes. We also had a long-term business manager retire after 28 years. Our instructional services saw a reduction driven by staffing adjustments to help the offset rising of insurance costs, as Mr. Martin just mentioned. Student services remain relatively level. We continue to support our athletics, our extracurriculars, health services, and safety for that line. The transportation costs are stable as well. We are under a multi-year contract in year 2 of 5. So there's a 2.5% escalation annual clause in that contract. Plant operations and maintenance slightly reduced. We've completed a maintenance work this year on our driveway, so we're bring that line down slightly. The major cost drivers or increases to the budget this year, our retirement contributions increased to greenfield retirement by over $100,000, and we also have quite a few multiple long-term retirements, so increasing our separation costs. Mr. Hart mentioned health insurance. That's been a huge driver in our budget increases, and as you've probably seen in the newspaper, or heard about through other towns, the Hampshire County Group Insurance Trust hit us with a 20% mid-year increase in October. We also saw a 19% increase on July 1st.
We're well aware.
So,
We got the same ones.
okay, so you're part of it, yes. So you're navigating the same territory
Same ones.
we are.
Yep.
So now they're at a 12.48% increase, as you know, for this upcoming year. We are still working with other brokers to try to figure out another solution, looking for that parachute to land with should the trust continue to experience issues moving forward. So same story for our retirees. Another non-employee insurance that covers our property and liability insurance. So we're projecting higher premiums for this year, and we also added an additional facility with our aviation hangar. So that outbuilding is now part of our insurance. The hangar land lease is covering our lease with the Turners Falls Municipal Airport. That's where the aviation hangar was constructed. So that's just a favorable long-term lease with them. Transfer to capital stabilization, we significantly reduced that line to help balance the budget and close that gap. Our debt service line, that's the figure for our annual capital assessment for the windows and doors project, which we spoke about in the revenue section as well. School choice tuition, that is just for the potential student that may attend Monty Tech as a school choice. Per pupil costs are just shy of $6,000 per pupil, so we're budgeting for 2 that potentially may end up at Monty Tech. And our transfer to OPEB, that's our retiree benefits liability. So it's a minimal contribution that we're making this year. Our long-term liability is almost $15 million, so it's our small attempt, but again, trying to close that budget deficit.
So with
And that's how we spend our money.
That's how we spend it, so these two things should balance. That's where we are with the school budget. Again, this is a 50-page booklet that if you haven't received it already, will be coming very shortly. And, there's probably 200 or 300 different internal and external type of links, so you can learn a little bit more about all aspects of the budget and how it relates to the Department of Ed, the Department of Revenue, and etc. So do I have any questions on the budget?
I have one quick one. So the cherry sheets aren't finalized, right? Do you have to do any adjustments at any point? Or unless the school is different than the towns, because,
Right, so what ends up happening with the cherry sheets is they put the governance numbers to come out at the end of January, and that's where we get our first round of the cherry sheets. And we have to, all school districts in the state have to budget based on those numbers.
okay,
And therefore, if they go up or down, if they go up, great, that flows into our E&D the following year, more than likely, just like it would for a town's free cash. But if they go down, then we have to find other efficiencies. So generally speaking, in my experience, the governor's numbers have never gone down for the school districts as it relates to the cherry sheet once they do the late January. They have gone up occasionally, but they haven't gone down.
thank you.
I have a question regarding the stabilization fund. What's the current balance and where would you ideally like to be in terms of the balance?
Well, our current balance is what you see here, and if we were live, we would show you, that's the Department of Revenue's current balance for us. So we're spending every last penny of it to offset the budget. We're in a situation where we have no choice. Where we would like to be is a little more flush in that area, so we have some flexibility. We have very minimal flexibility, and it does worry us a little bit, especially if you look down here to our capital stabilization number. We were trending, a lot more, and we were 238 last year, but even more before that. We're only putting $50,000 there because we can't afford to put anything else there at this particular point in time to be able to have a balanced budget without going into further reductions in force. So we're kind of, hoping, because potentially there may be a new building and hopefully some of those needs would be addressed, but we'll talk about that in the next presentation.
Thank you. I have a question about the transportation. If you were to adjust like for inflation over the last, 5 years, has the rate of, what's the differential from what the state's actually giving us versus what would be? Have you any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of that. So right now you can see this number on how we spent it at 1.3 million almost, right? You see the 1.297. If you go up to the top screen, right, with our regional transportation number, you'll see 959 is what they're reimbursing us. So the taxpayers in the towns are left with about $350,000 of a difference that are coming out of our operating budget that the state didn't fulfill their promise to fully fund regional transportation. When you take those numbers and go to other years, it fluctuates. So if you go back just a few years ago, we were 801,000 reimbursed, and we were about 1.2, so about 400. So the fluctuation has been between 350 and 550 in the time that I've been here. So it's right around that, 350,000 to just over $500,000 that has to come out of our operating budget to help offset transportation costs. And as many of you are aware, we're the largest geographical area in the state for buses with over 560 square miles of territory. So we have no choice. I mean, this is something that the state has not helped us up. And the other thing that we do not get that all the other school districts get is we don't get any rural aid. So we have nothing to offset that with. And we don't get rural aid just because we're a vocational school. So we could have a brother that goes to Frontier and a sister that attends Franklin County Tech, and one gets rural aid and the other doesn't, just because of the choice they made to go to school. So there's some inequities there as well.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions as it relates to the budget?
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Thank you.
All right, hearing none, I'm gonna just get out of this one. In order for me to get into the next one, I have to go back in and share my screen and get back to the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about the proposed new MSBA building project. This all probably started for us 8 to 10 years ago when we were dealing with an electrical mechanical system concern, and that's this item right here, where our lights would be flickering on and off, and we have old Federal Pacific technology that no longer exists. And we had a company come in and said we should probably purchase an electrical switchgear on standby in case one of our 18 go out. But we hired an outside company at $150,000, and they built us an electrical switchgear unit. We had it delivered on a Wednesday, and on Friday night, wouldn't you know it, the lights flickered and did not come back on. And we hired the company to come back out, so by Saturday night, we were at full operating power. And why is that a concern? Because if we didn't have that on standby, we would have been without power and without school for up to 2 months. So that became a huge concern for us. So we went out and bought another electrical switchgear and put that on standby. And 2 months later, the same issue occurred. You might have read in the paper that we had an issue just last week.
Yes.
That was a temporary issue, but we still had to cancel school. It's just a huge problem. And in order to replace the electrical mechanical system, the outside estimators came in with a figure at $32 million. And when you do something that big, you are no longer grandfathered into the sprinkler system. So that would cost an additional $8 million. And then we need a new roof. As you know, we're doing the old roof and paving windows project, but that's just a roof coating. By law, you cannot do that a third time. Our roof's leaking all over the place again, and a new roof replacement would have to take place. A conservative estimate on that is about $17 million for 160,000 square feet of space. So when you add up everything we currently need, it is $75 million just to keep the building open. And none of that comes with MSBA reimbursement. So about 8 years ago, we tried to get into the MSBA because we knew this is coming down the track. We did get into it eventually, but to get the entire building up to code, right now would be $103 million. And the MSBA project, after their reimbursement of 113 or so million back to the towns, would be around 120 to 124 million. So, and that would be a 50 year. So the difference when you do this is no guarantee we would get a long-term bond. We could get a 20 year, we might get a 25 or 30, depending on what it's used for. Many others will only be allowed for a 15-year bond. So you're gonna be paying a lot more per year when you calculate the shrinkage of the bonding. It's a 30-year bond with the MSBA project, and you get reimbursed. So if you take a building up to code to 103, you don't get any money from the MSBA. So that's one of our concerns. It just talks a little bit about the process. I'm going to get right to about the building itself. So right now, we have our building here. The proposed building would go right over here and in our existing lot. We went through quite a process. Our first goal was to just renovate. So that was our number one goal. What could we do to just renovate? And when we looked at different renovations, they were more expensive. And I don't know why, but you must have heard this as well. When I looked around, I guess it's pretty common. It's more expensive to renovate a building like ours than it would be to build a new one. And so it started to get pretty obvious that the renovation, which exceeded the price of any new building we were looking at. And we were looking at different designs that we were taking a look at. We landed on option 8 right here. And as you notice, it bumps out a little bit here, and it's got this little like flying wing. That's where the majority of the vocational shops will be located to get away from the academic wings. And there's a firewall that's built in here as well. The reason for that, if you come to our school now and you're in math class, 15 feet away, you're smelling fumes from our collision repair shop. They're right across the hall from each other. So not a great educational environment to be in. This avoids that problem right there. So we went through a large decision-making matrix, including engineers, architects, teachers, students, parents, administration, and we reviewed all the 8 options that we had. And the base option is what I personally was looking at as, could we do it? And the reason why we weren't able to do it is all the stuff that was articulated here. Not to mention, you're doing a base option, you get very minimal MSBA reimbursement, so you're practically paying pretty close to the same. The ad rentals were even more expensive. So we went with option 8. It was one of 2 of the least expensive options that we had, but it fit the bill as far as what we were looking for. When we look at location, so the new building would go here, and that old building, the current building that we're in, would become the soccer field and the baseball field, which currently exists right here. These are just some of the schematics, the designs that they have, what we were talking about with the vocational shops in the back, and academic shops, and academic classes in the front. Well, one of the key parts that we should take a look at is the escalating cost. So here's what ended up happening. Back in 2013, Greenfield High School was built to $66 million at $334 per square foot. And then we run into, it pretty much went up, but then once we hit COVID right about here, took off. So the prices of all the buildings, when you average out Greenfield's line, which is that average line, all these other dots that you see around here are all the other MSBA projects that were being built at the same time. So Greenfield was right slightly above the average mark at the 66 million. And we're slightly below the average mark up here, but we're now up to, it's a $236 million building. It started out at 246, it's down to 236. And after reimbursement, it's that number between 120 and 120. And that would be an average cost around $900 plus per square foot as compared to where we are back in 2013. So anything getting constructed is going to range between that $900 and $1,100 per square foot. The cost is astronomical, and when we go to the cost for the individual towns, the percentages as such. So Conway's right here, they have about 3.10% of the project, and towns like Greenfield have about 28% of the project. So that's based on the enrollment, and it's based on the equalized valuation and all the calculations. So that's where we would be right here. When we look at, yeah, so that's it. That's the nuts and bolts of the building project. And does Liz have anything to add?
Hopefully you can hear me okay. The background is a little bit loud. Yeah, so this page here shows where we started the feasibility study. We're now, schematic design has just been submitted, so the MSBA will be voting on that at the end of April. So the overall project cost is now down to $236 million. So the MSBA share, we're looking at a reimbursement of about $112 million, with the district share being $124 million. So reimbursement for MSBA, we're looking at about 66%. So bonding for the vote for the funding will be October 6th. Letters will be going out to the towns at probably by the end of this week to inform everyone of that date. It'll be its own ballot. I know it's a election, there's 2 other elections this year, so it'll be a third. We understand the burden to the towns for this. The district will be reimbursing for all costs associated with the election. We will reimburse for those. The bonding for the project, if the vote goes through, will ramp up in 2029 and 2030. And Is there any questions about any of that?
The length of the bond, what are we looking at?
So the length of the bond will be just over, a little over 30 years because it won't ramp up. Like during construction time, it'll slowly ramp up. So it'll exceed 30 years based on current projections from the council.
And Liz, how many years does it take for it to ramp up so they have an idea?
So in 2029 and 2030 is when it will start to ramp up. And then by 2031, everyone will be paying the highest amount.
So can we explore that a little bit? So there's a bond will be floated when? Where's the first bond floated?
So 2028.
2028, okay. And how much is that?
Yeah,
gonna-
so
how much is-
Conway's projection right now for 2028 is $7,000.
How much is that bond gonna be for? The full amount of the construction?
So the amount of the construction, so in total, so for Conway's share, will be with interest included $7 million.
No, okay, that's fine. I'm looking at, in 2028, are you,
The 7 million's before the MSB, right? Because if we're talking, I thought that the total value after the MSB was 124 million. That times 3.
But
Oh, go ahead.
with interest,
Yeah.
with
Oh, you mean
interest
interest.
over the life of the bond, it pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
brings us back to what the project cost would be.
So what's the projected interest rate? What are you being
Yeah.
told?
that's another
That's,
question.
that's gonna
We're
be-
looking at 4% average.
Thank you.
So we're talking, so we're talking 7 million over the life, and that's a 30-year you're looking at, correct?
More than 30.
More than,
Just over 30 years.
okay.
So we're looking at a maturity date of when?
2061.
Well, we'll all be.
So will our
In,
money,
in 2061 though, that amount is $9,000. So it definitely will
So
decrease.
we're interest only beginning in 2028? Is that how this is being structured, or are we?
There'll be some anticipation notes issued in the beginning,
Okay.
during the early phases of construction. So some of those smaller amounts will be part of that. This is just for the cash flows for the early stages.
And how does the state reimburse? Do they reimburse as the project rolls along, or do they reimburse after the project is complete?
Correct. So currently, right now, we're in feasibility study, so they're already reimbursing us.
Okay.
So I, on a monthly basis, submit for reimbursement. I have to submit all invoices. They have to be approved by our project manager, signed off, coded. And we go through this pro-pay system through MSBA, and they reimburse us after they approve everything.
Okay. And you mentioned that, I missed the dollar amount that you said that MSBA would be reimbursing out of the 236 million?
2016?
We're looking at 112 million.
112 million
112
reimbursed, okay.
So, yeah,
So I have a question. How are you gonna float the other money? How does that work? I mean, you have to foot the money, then you get reimbursed for the project cost, it's not gonna be bonded? Like, how do the mechanics of that work?
so our project manager works with our bonding council to develop a cash flow for the entire project so that the bonds were prepared or the bonding debt schedule was prepared based on that.
So what
So there'll
percentage,
be initial, what's that?
what percentage of the project is there going to be for a contingency? Given that costs continue to escalate? And I'm inferring that the lifetime of the time it will take to complete the project is going to be 18 to 24 months. I can infer
We're
that.
looking at a project closeout in 2031. So by the time the building is decommissioned and everything is closed out and approved by the MSBA, we're looking at 2031. So groundbreaking in 2028.
And all the costs that are associated with a likely escalator has already been calculated into the cost. So it's already considered as part of the actual cost.
So, right, once we vote, once the MSBA approves in April, if they approve it, our schematic design will be working toward locking into the budget then. So escalation costs are factored in. for construction.
Thank you. I have a suggestion and a question. I'm sure you're already addressing it, but it would be helpful if you could have that budget cash flow timeline for the construction. It would be really helpful for us to have that information, so I'm assuming the finance committee will be asked by members of the town meeting for a vote on this, how it works, and it would be good for us to know. And the
Sure,
select
of
board.
course.
Thank you,
We just got this fresh information, end of last week,
thank you.
based on updated cash
It's not a
flows.
town meeting vote, it's a whole separate vote.
It's a separate vote, yeah.
Lori's gotta run a whole
So,
separate
a
election.
referendum, thank you. So, yeah, it'd be helpful, because I'm assuming that we'll have a special information session, we'll have to have a special information session
So, Liz, you said that, oh, sorry.
No, I'm a little surprised that the participating towns, select boards, or finance committees haven't been offered a tour of the current facility. I think that would be beneficial to your cause.
Yeah, and when we go out to towns like this, that has been on the table, and we usually end the presentation with that exact. So we'll be gladly, just contact us, and we'll have you out whenever it's convenient for you, and we'll make time.
Yeah,
Sorry,
thank
Mary.
you. We can, it might be a good idea to combine with other towns.
Did I hear you correctly that the first year Conway's looking at 7,000?
For 2028, right now, what's projected from the debts schedule is 7,000.
Okay, so then you said after a couple years it'll ramp up. How much are we talking?
It ramps up quick, so 2029, 107,000,
Okay.
and then 166,000 in 2030, and then 228,000 in 2031.
And is that a schedule you can email us?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's not set in stone, we obviously are still waiting for the project vote from MSBA, but based on, I can give you these preliminary numbers.
Great, thank you.
It'd be good to have the amortization schedule of the bond, and then tie it into the allocations per town. I'm assuming that all the towns will be asking for this, and then also the construction budget timeline cost, so we can understand how all the money flows and how the towns are paying for it, and what the state's going to be reimbursing, because there's gonna be a certain amount of revolving money that has to get put into this project that will have to fund costs so the state can be reimbursed. And I'm assuming there's a certain amount of upfront money that the general contractor will have to be paid to initiate the work, especially the equipment order lead times.
Are there any
Can you
other
share that?
possible
Thank you.
sources of funding, grants, federal, state, any other chances of anything like that?
Federal.
I know, I had to say it. It's a long time
You're a
period.
stand-up comedian, of course.
So, I mean, we definitely know, or we hope IRA rebates will still exist. So that'll be, we'll have to work with tax council to figure that piece out.
Yeah.
We don't have firm numbers for that piece currently. Rebates from Mass Save are definitely being fully exhausted. As far as other grants, I mean, we continually look at them. We're just not seeing anything large. We get skills capital grants for equipment. So
I do have a meeting coming up in the next several weeks with Senator Comerford, and she's floating some ideas by, so I don't want to put that out until they become concrete, but there's some discussion at the Senate level to try to help alleviate the rural cost to this.
Right, because it makes sense if we're trying to increase our people in the trades and we're making, community college free and all this kind of thing, that there'd be
Right.
some money for something like this, which could turn out people who would make a good wage just with a high school diploma. So you'd think you'd want to fund something at this level to get contributing people to your communities that will be able to make a good living and contribute to the economy.
Yeah, I mean,
It was
workforce,
just like you were a fly on the wall with my conversation with Senator Comerford, because that's exactly what we talked about.
I mean, workforce
So we're
development.
gonna meet formally and we'll be meeting in collaboration with the president of Greenfield Community College as well. So you are on, you got the right pulse on this for sure.
Well, that's good. I mean, it was very helpful for me to go through what the current building is, the condition, especially with, I had just heard on the news about the electrical outage and how you were out of school for a day. And then having the context of that, I'm like, I face it in my work, renovating is more expensive than new, which is crazy,
Yeah.
because then you have all this
Yeah.
waste of a building or a thing, but that just seems to be, I don't know how we get around that, but that seems to be the state of affairs in our current economy.
I mean, one thought would be workforce development. I'm assuming that's what you're meeting with the GCC about, and maybe the Franklin Hampshire Regional Employment Board, to see if there's some kind of grant relief or something we can get from the state, given how many adult students that you also, train.
Yeah, and we continually work with workforce development in the state. We currently just received over a $2.2 million grant to continue our Career Technical Institute evening program for adult learners that are usually underemployed or displaced. And they've been employed at over an 80% clip. So there's some great things
Awesome.
happening in the evening programs as well. So we got to try to figure out how can we do all that. I mean, just recently you read the newspaper about the Bright Act and community colleges receiving up to $3.2 billion with a B. And so how can we access, just a couple $100 million of that, and then we'd be done with the project.
Shouldn't
I'm not asking for much.
shouldn't the labor of this bill be absolutely nothing because you can just use your students?
We use your students,
Yeah.
right? We
I
use your
wish that to
students.
be the case.
Yeah.
Escalation costs may exceed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What year was the current building built?
50s.
1975.
Oh, I thought it was 70.
So there's
It's not
no hazardous waste in your building, asbestos, that kind of stuff in your current building?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want to be around when they tear it down and find out.
Okay,
There's,
Well-
Because
there's a budget for
I guess
hazardous
would
waste
be,
abatement.
okay.
If I
my
could
guess
ask,
would be they'll find stuff.
if I could ask a question about that and just let you know
There's,
as background that I was a solid waste coordinator for very many years, and we talked a lot about building deconstruction. What is the process actually going to be for that? And do you have the cost estimates yet?
No, we don't have the process of that. That's going to be calculated under the soft costs. So the MSBA reimburses us at a 66% level. However, the soft costs are not reimbursed at that level. So soft costs do include exactly what you're talking about, the tear down, breakdown, and storage of hazardous waste and abatement materials. And that's an expensive part of the process as well. And they don't reimburse. I think I should also say with our facility, we forego an assembly hall because that's not reimbursable space by the MSBA. So we deducted from that. We recalculated our square footage and made it a little bit smaller, but we can only go down to what the OSHA minimum per square students of space that we can have. And we only are building a building for 600 students, which is currently lower than our total population. So we were the first MSBA project to actually propose to build something smaller than our existing population. Because we've got to be really conscious of our member towns. I mean, there's an enrollment stabilization or an enrollment decline at the upper grade levels. And, could we have built it for 800? Yes, but we decided at what cost? Let's just build it for what we can actually need. And we went down to 600, so that seems to work.
So the reason I brought that up actually is because there are ways that you can repurpose a lot of materials that come out of deconstruction. And if somebody wants to look into that or hasn't already, I'm happy to help. No people
really,
in
Veronica?
business.
Oh, right. I think that process, I don't know enough about it. I still got the rookie card on this one, so I don't know enough about that process. So people like yourself And I know that our OPM and our architects are much more smooth with that and have a plan. They already articulated a plan, but not in any firm detail because we're so far removed from that, that's kind of years down the road.
Okay, well, I'll send you a couple contacts who know way more than I do.
I have a question
Thank you.
about what do you assess the interest rate risk to be? I mean, you're using a 4% assumption right now with 30-year treasuries at 4.75. Small changes in interest rate could have huge implications for this. So I'm just, can you give us a rough assessment of where the 4% comes from and what you think the risk is?
This is working with Unibank, with our bond counselor representatives, and them figuring we can get some, state-backed bonds. If we can work on some of this coming out of our Chapter 70 funds, that helps with interest rates as well. Obviously, this project exceeds what we can do with that. We've talked about our larger towns going out to bond on their own. So there's lots of conversations about how we can maybe improve these rates. Where they currently stand, they're looking at about 4%.
Thank you.
What are you expecting, John, for the economy to go insolvent?
My thought
No,
would be,
but there's a lot of uncertainty at the
Did you
moment.
read
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Did you read it? It is insolvent.
the bond, there's going to be a sinking fund. How the if you can send along how the structure
Gas
would
could
be.
be $10 by the time they break around on this.
Oh, yeah. How it's going to be.
But once we're locked into the budget, though, that's where, right,
Yeah.
we're locked
That's
in, so
right.
we gotta get that locked in now.
That's right.
The amortization schedule on the sinking fund, assuming there'll be one that's that'll be instruction. How it all works, if you can send it along, please. When available.
Yeah, definitely. The schedule for sure.
Yeah, and how it's gonna work. I'm assuming there'll be a sinking fund. I have a question. If there are costs, if the project cost updates, I'm assuming there'll be periodic communications showing the project that make sure it's on budget. I'm just concerned about rising costs and if there is contingency, if it exceeds, what fallback there might be, if any.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead, Rick.
yeah, the contingency cost will be built into the cost of the project.
Is
So
it
once we
15%? What
get a voted
percentage?
upon project, it will not go up.
What percentage is, what percentage contingency and how are you basing it?
I know that different phases have different percentages, so the deconstruction phase of the building is 1%, and I'm not sure exactly what that is. Again, the schematic design has not been approved yet from the MSBA, which will then give us the exact percentages. And then the cost of the contingencies for the mechanical systems, that would be 1%. The cost of the percentage for the plumbing and those type of things would be it depends on what the industry market is, but that's already calculated into the cost that would be voted upon.
Yep.
So when is the MSBA going to
I
be
got a
the final?
question. Anybody hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Roy.
Question, the audio wasn't that great earlier on. The number 7 million stands out. This is the estimated cost for Conway of the project, is that correct?
Correct, principal and interest over the total life of the debt schedule.
Principal and interest over the life of the bond. How many years is the bond?
30.
It's just over 30 years by the time, it'd be 2028 would be a smaller amount to 2061. But it tapers off at the end as well.
30, 60. So it's like 30, 35 years, is that what I'm,
33.
33
plus.
approximately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. And that, does that change based on the enrollment down the road, or is that kind of fixed in place?
Fixed.
It's based on population and EQB, so it's 50% of each. So it could fluctuate.
Okay,
So you keep-
okay, so I guess that's a good number.
The percentage, like Conway's percentage could.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
It raises a question though, in terms of what number have you used for the it's student population or is it
town population.
Town population.
Right.
No, the actual Conway's population. If you look at, in your budget books on the capital assessment chart,
Mm-hmm.
for our current capital assessment, it's spelled out pretty well on there, how we arrive at that
Okay.
3.1%. Obviously, this is smaller scale at a
Right.
$6,000,
Right.
Same as chapter
Assessment.
70, change
Okay.
chapter
So
9.
what-
that chart will help you
Mhm.
determine how we get there, how the formula works.
So what happens if this initiative does not pass on October 6th?
There's a couple of different avenues that has, the MSBA may or may not allow us back into another shot at the apple. That does fluctuate depending on the project, and that would, be as early as a year or two down the road, but that would be an increased cost of 4% increase in labor, 4% supplies of materials, so about 8% a year. It would increase at that point. Or we would just then transition right into that first slide that I showed you and start to maintain our occupancy permit. The plans that we've been putting off for about 8 years, we'll start to work on those at $75 to $103 million to try to get the building up to code.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
So-
you very much.
Yeah, so when will the MSBA sign off on the budget?
Looks like sometime in April, is that correct, Liz?
Yep, it's April 26th. We hope that they'll approve our schematic design
Yeah.
and lock us into the scope and budget.
Thank you.
And when is your next presentation at the GCC?
Yeah, we have one at
May
May
12th?
May 12th, yes.
May 12th.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And at that meeting, we'll have the architects and the OPNs there as well.
Okay.
I only play one here on Zoom because I slept in a Motel 8 last night, but
There you
besides
go.
that,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you,
all for having
Thank you
us.
all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. What?
Are we gonna have to look at them for the rest of the, there we go. I think they're gonna have a little bit of a hard time convincing
All the towns.
voters that,
Who have
your
not seen
tax
this
bills, your
presentation.
tax bill's gonna be even more if you don't
Yeah.
let them build a building.
Well, I mean, some towns are gonna.
Well, the
drop to
alternative
an
though is
override,
also
and
you're
that's-
still
Yeah.
sinking a ton of money into a building that's.
Right,
whatever,
but I
so
mean,
it's not
I
a
would
good
see
option
myself
either way.
as, coming to vote and going, oh, do I wanna spend, no, my tax bill's gonna go way up. No, without having any idea that it's gonna cost more to repair it.
I mean, I just think it's absurd that
That 4 students are costing us
they'll
$7
pay
million.
money for like new construction, but they
That's what I
won't,
think's absurd.
Right.
they won't contribute
Yeah.
to renovation. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just, is what's absurd to me.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. It
Yeah.
is absurd, but it happens all the
But
time.
we have 4 students there.
Yeah,
This year.
And our part is 15%.
yeah.
4 students, where Greenfield is 20%, and they have probably 120 students there.
Mhm.
That is just so wrong.
Yeah.
That's because
A
we're rich.
lot of the equations
Well,
for
we're
this
not
town.
They're very rich.
I am
Yeah.
poor. Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah,
All right.
no.
So
Where are
here's
we?
the
A
elections,
few are
well,
rich, a few are rich.
Okay.
Lori's here to help us with the elections budget because there were questions about it, how many elections.
Oh,
And I
there's
should
4
start
now.
off,
There's
Four.
4.
there's
But
4.
they
There's
did
now
just
4.
say that they are gonna reimburse the
They
towns
are
for the
reimbursing
special
for
election.
that one.
For the October 6th.
Reimburse what though? Are they
Yes,
gonna
that's-
reimburse, no one has told me they're gonna reimburse
Yeah.
for programming my machines, for printing my ballots, for paying my people? What are they gonna, and until I have that in writing, I have to count on that,
Yeah.
that not happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at this year's budget, there's 1 election, hence small budget.
Yeah.
FY '25, there was 3 elections, but I didn't have to pay for my security. When Kenny was there, he did it, and that was,
Mhm.
you know. But now I have the added expense of the constable, and a 4th election. So I've got 4 elections, and I'm,
Would it be hard to amortize the amount that it's gonna cost for the extra
The extra election I am estimating is gonna cost me about $2,200
Okay.
between programming the Automark, because whether it's used or not, it's required, it's our ABA voting machine. The postage, the printing of ballots, labor, and.
So that should be the number that we hope to receive.
Get back from them,
Yeah, that is what I'm estimating. I'm assuming they're gonna wanna wait until it's all over and done and have me submit a breakdown. But yeah, that's my estimate. I would put it right around the same as what we would do for a local election, because the hours are the same. The election will be open 11 to 7. People come in an hour before, they hand count after.
Even for a special election, there's no shortening of time.
8 hours is what they're looking at for special elections. We initially thought it was gonna be the full 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. But the elections person their legal person got back to the Franklin County clerks and said, no, you can, you can do it for 8 instead of the 13.
So is the reason that we couldn't do it on a regular election day in June, because we just aren't gonna have the final numbers?
This is the
from-
date that their school committee picked, because we had a representative at the meeting that was pushing them to put this on the November ballot. They could put this on the November ballot and not have a special election. But one, I don't think they want to wait that extra month, and two, you have to jump through hoops to get it on the ballot. There's nomination papers and signatures and certifying, and
So we couldn't put it on our June ballot?
we cannot. Absolutely can't.
All right.
So it puts a burden on towns. We need to get
They're
rid of that financial burden by having them pay the 2,200.
Yes, but I do have to request it because.
Just in case they don't.
Right, and who's to say how long it's gonna take them to pay it back? It may be in the following fiscal year, because you just
Yeah.
don't know.
So you would be the one requesting?
Yes.
Can we please do that?
Well, I can't request it until after.
I understand, but once it.
Oh, absolutely, of course.
I know.
Are you
Lori?
kidding?
Lori
No
will be
way.
all over it.
You know,
Are you?
triple,
Consider it
done.
double checking, yes.
And I'm gonna have them make the check out to me. No.
Okay,
Yeah, of
Um,
course, absolutely.
all right,
Okay.
thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
So that does answer the questions now, or,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
okay, good.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go home and have it.
Thank you.
Are you guys all set, finance?
Yeah, that's it. Any other questions, comments? Roy, questions, comments, suggestions?
Hi, Roy.
If not,
He's
thank you.
stunned silent.
He's done.
He's got
$7
buyers
million
remorse.
figure.
And he hasn't even bought it.
Have a good night, guys.
All right, adjourning, 7:07.
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, 7:07.
Bye, Roy, we're taking off. You can go home now.
Thank you, finance. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Festival of the Hills, who's been waiting quite patiently.
We need some good news here. I think I'll stick around for
Oh,
it.
do we have good news? I don't know.
So we need to appoint and vote on festival committee board members, and then we want to talk about the car show, and then you want to talk about your other, some general festival concerns.
So right now, the only board members that we have are myself, Sue McDonald, and Janet McLaurin. We have a activity coordinator who is willing to step up and join the board. However, she's unable to come to all of the meetings. And I believe the law states we need 5 to 7 board members, if I'm correct.
I think it said up to 7.
Up to 7, okay. Basically, we need help. We need participants. Sue has already informed me that this will be her last year on the festival. She is currently our treasurer and our secretary, and she knows the most about how everything is run. So once she's gone, we're 2 board members who kind of don't really know what to do other than make it happen weekend of. So, yeah, that's where we stand as a board right now.
Can we take a vote on those 3 board members?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's what tonight is for, is to vote them on to the Festival of the Hills, so we have an official committee.
Okay, I'll make a motion to vote for Hazel Goldman, Sue McDonald, and Janet McLaurin to the Festival of the Hills Committee.
I'll second.
And who's the 4th person, because we can go ahead.
Alexis, make sure I'm pronouncing her name. Alexis Arcaro. ARCARO.
We can add her,
Yeah.
as well as Alexis
Arcaro.
Arcaro.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Board members, please, let's, so if it's 5 to 7, so 4 is, that's a, I mean, if you only have 3 people show up, you still have a quorum, so that's at least,
Yep.
4 is okay, but let's try to get, let's try to get more.
Yeah, I was thinking we could put something maybe on the cover of the May Currents, you know, have it, the very cover be
Yeah.
Yeah,
something about the festival.
this might be the last.
I mean, I kind of threatened that in the last currents last year, like, if we can't do this without
Right.
help from everyone, and
Yeah.
it is all volunteers, so it's hard to get people, and but we need volunteers for the weekend of, we need volunteers to help put together each little aspect of it, but it's also important that we have board members, because we also need to decide on scholarships, who gets that money, and when we don't have Sue as a treasurer, I don't know how any of the money things are gonna work out, so.
And we still need to have that conversation with Sean too, because there's money that's like, that we take in online, that we don't, yeah, there's just a lot of questions there, so I think we should have a meeting with Sean and Sue sometime soon.
Sean and Sue and Liz probably.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So now with the committee, does the committee have to vote for the approving the car show on Sunday for the permits, or can the select board, based on the committee's recommendation, if Hazel was the,
I think the select board can.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think,
So as the representative, or is the Festival of the Hills Committee good with the same setup as last year with the car show on Sunday?
As
Saturday,
far,
yeah.
it was Saturday.
Oh, Saturday,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
As far as
Thank
we
you.
know, we haven't planned otherwise for
Okay.
it to not happen.
Mhm.
We haven't spoken with, what's his name?
Chief Bates?
No,
Oh, Mike
Mike-
Chrysonis.
Mike-
Oh,
Yeah.
He hasn't actually reached out to us
Okay.
regarding it this
Yeah.
year. I know there was a lot of, it was confusing last year because it technically wasn't under the festival.
Mhm.
So we didn't have to get those insurance policies. And there was a question whether it, because we are becoming a town entity, if it will become part of the festival. So we're unsure about that.
Okay. I know he's been working with Chief Bates,
Yeah.
so I'll let him know, and Chief Bates. I guess we should probably vote on that. I'll make a motion to include the car show on the Festival of the Hills for the Saturday as what was done in 2025.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I need to write a compelling article for the Currents.
She did.
Hi,
but
why?
she
I'm not
tried
a
to
writer.
shame- She tried to shame those people.
I kind of did, actually. I was like, we need young people to take this
We
up.
need young people.
Yeah.
We need a great graphic for the cover of the Currents, and then when you open the fold, it'll say, "This means you."
Yeah.
Or something
Yeah,
like that to get
it's
their
tough
attention.
because the weekend of, everyone's super into it, and they're like,
Yeah.
this is great, and then for the rest of the year, myself included, before I was part of the board, I didn't think about it at all,
Right.
so
Yeah.
it was
But,
not on my radar.
I mean, it's like half the year, you guys really aren't doing a lot.
We're just getting all of our ducks in a row.
Right, so, I mean, I feel like as far as, I mean, I would be willing to join the board of the Festival of the Hills, not right now. I mean, if it comes to that, I'm
You
willing
already
to.
do so much as an
I'm willing
activity
to
board
sit
leader.
there.
I'm also willing to help. I don't know if I can be on the board, but I will definitely help where I can.
Great, thank you.
And I'll help with finances where I can.
Awesome,
So,
thank you,
for
yeah,
sure.
because I know Sue has a couple questions too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mostly about getting some, I have to compile a list of who's not gonna return this year, and then after that, I can include that in the
If my
name.
kids move back to town, I'd definitely get them to get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hard, I'm like, I got the scholarship, what, nearly 10 years ago, and I feel like I'm the only one that has stayed in town, sadly, so.
Yeah, they're not,
I doubt that. I doubt that.
Did I? No one from my class that
Yeah.
I know of.
yeah, there are not a lot of kids from whatever, like 6th grade Conway Grammar School. I mean, obviously you were a senior, but, I mean, yeah, I think there's not a lot of people from your class who like returned.
Or even the classes on either side of me, I don't.
Yeah.
It's probably because our AQB is so high.
No, because these young people can't afford to live in
That's
Wilmington.
right.
Yeah.
They can't-
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying, our
I know.
QB is too
Exactly,
high.
yeah. Okay, all right,
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Hazel.
thank you.
Is that
For your
it?
patience too.
Yeah, sorry for
Yes,
making you
thanks.
wait.
Sorry I couldn't come earlier, I was.
Oh,
No, it's fine.
Okay, appreciate it.
Because she was in Board of Health meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this, set a date for the Eversource poll hearing, that should be really simple. This is a poll on my property that's in a very inconvenient
Oh, wait, I'll stay
location.
for this.
Yeah, you can say this. So it's in just a stupid part of my property that makes it kind of totally unusable. And they're just gonna move it from.
Detention pole.
Huh?
Just
It's,
detention
and it's
pole.
just a tension pole, yeah. So they're gonna move it from the back of the property right to the property line by the road.
Can we just do it the next meeting and not early, only 6 o'clock, like
Yeah,
start
yeah,
it?
because we don't need to have like a 5:30 poll hearing.
So 6 o'clock on the 30th?
Yeah, let's do that. Thank you for thinking of that, because
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I mean, I think I'm the,
Pull some strings, did you, to
Probably
get that pole moved?
I knew a guy at Eversource. I was like, hey,
Oh,
who do I
Gilberto.
talk to?
The old Gilberto.
Oh, you know what, we didn't have, okay, let me text Lori, just tell her that's when the poll hearing will be.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, that should be fast, because I don't think, I mean, the people who live in the house,
Yeah.
one of them is here.
Do you approve of this?
It was my idea.
Okay.
So that should be fine. All right, so poll hearing 6 o'clock on Monday.
Do I have to come to that?
No.
Okay, great.
Nope, we do not. Only if you object.
Yeah.
As long as they don't put a street light on, we're good.
Yeah, no, it's, no.
No.
Oh, which, well, I can bring that up. I know that there was some concern on, it's not a street light, but there is a light that's shining on the flagpole at the fire department.
Yeah, that's,
That's very, very bright.
If a flag is up, not up and down, it's gotta have
It
a
has
light
to,
on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm just wondering about, is there like a max, I mean,
the
does
illumination.
it have to be as bright as it is? I
Yeah.
guess is my question, so that's,
I'll look at that, I didn't,
okay,
I'll walk by it.
yeah. Okay, so next item on the agenda, you're good to go.
Thank you.
Vote to open the annual town meeting warrants.
I'll make a motion to open annual town meeting warrant.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the warrant is open. All right, vote to appoint members to the Public Employee Commission for Health Insurance Negotiations. So we have a request to appoint union member Lisa Gaylor and Jody Frazier, and a retiree representative, Nancy McGovern. And this is the,
All from school.
but yeah, all from, so this is the committee that we're required to have in order to deal with the increased costs of health insurance on a very, very tight timeline.
So moved, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, since I just got email, I just got mail back. I didn't see your TA update, but.
Yeah, I was just trying to call it, because actually,
Oh, I got it here.
one thing that's working well is that now I can get into my actual documents on this laptop while I'm here, which I
There you
wasn't
go.
able to do before, so there are some positives. The main thing I wanted to mention, well, Public Buildings Committee met, and, you know, last year, for a special town meeting, they had asked for, I think it was $83,000 to be able to replace the roof on the garage, because they thought it was imminent and there was drips. And well, it turned out it wasn't as dire as, it still has to be replaced, but it wasn't an emergency.
On what garage?
On
At
the public safety building.
Oh, it needs it.
It was the side, well, the side of the.
No, not the
Not the new-
office edition,
yeah,
the
not the
garage.
Oh,
Yeah, the old
yeah.
garage.
okay.
Yeah, and the other, so now what they're talking about is, so we never put that out to bid or anything for replacing the roof, but there is another roof underneath. And the idea is to remove that roof, which will raise the ceiling, which will allow them to raise the doors, which means they don't have to custom fit the vehicles.
Yeah.
You wanna raise the roof?
I want to raise the roof, so.
We like to raise the roof around here.
Yeah, so Ron is working on a scope of work for that.
Okay.
And let's see, and also, the work on, in the Pine Hill area, Delabar Upper Baptist will start hopefully April 1st.
Wonderful.
It needs to be done by the end of the fiscal year, so
Yes.
he's got a lot of work to
Yes,
get.
he does.
Yes. He'll be very, very busy. But the main thing I wanted to let you know about is that on the 31st, that Tuesday, I'm going to Boston. Again. But this time it's with the Small Town Administrators of Massachusetts. And we're going to talk first to the MMA to tell them our priorities, and then we're going to go to the governor's office.
Excellent.
And Corinne Coriat will be there, so I'll speak with her.
Okay.
And one of Senator Mark's aides will be there, so I'll speak with her. And I'm gonna hand out your letter to everybody that I see in person, because I think that makes a bigger impact.
Yeah.
But and if I haven't already forwarded the STAM legislative priorities, I'll send it to you, but I think you will be very happy with, we're very much in sync.
I think going to Boston has brought Conway a lot of good things. So
Yes.
I appreciate you going to Boston, and I appreciate you doing that for the town, because it does get us a different level of notice, and I believe it does lead to funding.
Yeah, I think it does too,
Yeah,
to be
I
honest,
think
and I don't have to
absolutely.
drive this time, so.
There you go.
Oh, speaking of that letter.
And I mean, I know, sometimes I just hate
Oh,
going to
yeah.
Boston, but
Yeah,
once you're there, you realize that's where you need to be.
the fourth one down needs to say the number of people, not on people.
Oh, well, that's on the signature page, I can change that easily.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, it's, I think it's, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, so we do have to, yeah, can you make that just,
Yeah, thank you for catching
Okay.
that.
so we had voted, to sign this already, so
Yes.
we will just.
On the first one too, like, this should say
Geez, I just read it.
Us.
To, turn to
us.
us. Okay.
It's just proper grammar.
Okay.
Don't you have Grammarly?
Oh, yeah, Jenny uses that all the
You
time.
just cut and paste from.
They put so many commas. Grammarly puts drops commas
Oh.
everywhere.
You know what, oh, okay, I was gonna say, because that's like AI or ChatGPT
Yeah.
does the spaces.
Select board members, comments, concerns?
How was the caucus?
Not enough people. Yeah, there were enough to
Sorry, I
sign
was at
paperwork.
Kinky Boots.
Nice.
There were enough people to sign paperwork for the people that did pull the papers.
Okay.
So anybody that pulled papers had
Had to
them
sign.
signed. But, yeah, other than that, Eversource has agreed to, or we made an agreement with the purchase price of the streetlights, which won't push another vote. What we have is what they're gonna accept.
That's good.
Yes.
So we'll move
Very
forward
nice.
with that, so very happy about that.
Yay, we got it
Yes.
done.
Oh, and actually, I should mention too that the sustainability committee members and I are gonna, well, a few of us are gonna be meeting with folks in Shelburne to kind of review the process they went through and give us a kind of step-by-step how to move forward. So I'm sure we'll be contacting RTE sometime soon, now that we have the grant and now that we know we're gonna be able to buy the streetlights. So we can move forward with.
And your TA note about being able to purchase housing for senior housing is great. Hopefully we can make some progress with that this year.
Oh, for the Conway Currents?
Yes.
You mean, yeah, yes, I'm really hoping a couple
Oh, I'm
people
sorry, that
step
was in
up.
the currents, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, so I already know of one person who's willing to do it and another that was suggested to me. So, hopefully we'll get at least a third to step up there.
Great.
Cool. Okay, so our next meeting, March 30th, 2026. That's next Monday at 6 o'clock.
Whole hearing and select
Whole
board.
hearing and
There
select
you
board.
go.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.